Welcome, gorgeous souls. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Soul. And today we're going to speak about happiness, joy, bliss. Something that has been missing out of my life for like ever. And I was looking in all the wrong places. I was seeking it. I had no idea where to find it. And I always felt I am not good enough. I'm never joyful. I'm never truly happy. And it just, it's not me. So today, Janet and I, we're going to share about happiness, joy, and bliss. And just up front, Janet, it's right. We don't have to look outside, right?
No, that's absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, happiness, like you, Caroline, I went through a stage, and I think a lot of people do because you reach a stage where maybe certain things aren't making you happy and you realize you're seeking happiness, but it almost feels like it's something that's you're chasing and it just keeps running away from you. And as you say, you have that feeling it's external and you're trying to get hold of it. But actually, it's in here and it's something that we always have within us. And it's about looking at the small things and recognizing the little things in your day that make you feel. And it's about the feeling, that emotional side of things, make you feel a certain way. I mean, you probably during your day, now you're aware of it as well, Caroline. I know that I am. I start to look at things and go, oh, yeah, that makes me happy, or that brings me joy, or even have a blissful moment. And that's, I think that's where people are getting it wrong. They feel it's something they have to chase to achieve because that's how our society has trained us. And it's not like that at all. What about you, Caroline?
Definitely, definitely. And for me, it's I can choose to be happy. I can choose to feel joy. It's, I was in a complicated marriage, never felt happy or emotionally supported. And I use that phrase too, he doesn't make me happy. I was still at that time feeling like a soul partner is the answer to all my sorrow, all my unhappiness. And only through my inner journey of reconnecting with who I am and loving myself the way I am and feeling good about myself, have I reached a level where I can say, yeah, today is a rainy day, but I choose to be happy. I don't, and that's the thing. I think that switches then the weather. I mean, of course, sometimes sunshine just makes you shine more, but I am not dependent on outside approval or conditions for me to feel joyful or happy. And I think that's sort of that both ways. We can be happy on rainy days and we can be happy just for the joy of it. It's not, we're not chasing it and we're not dependent on anyone else making me happy. Of course, I always feel joyful having this heart and soul conversations with you, Janet, and it's something to look forward to. But I'm not dependent on my own happiness for this to take place.
Exactly, Caroline. And I think you've just summed it up that a lot of people particularly in relationships, and maybe not even in relationship, but connected with other people, is that they expect someone else to bring them happiness and put that onus on someone else when it's not. Happiness is your responsibility. It's within your control. And absolutely, it is about sort of recognizing that, and also about, it is a mindset switch as well, because you say, like, on a rainy day, a lot of people, and I know I'm very much affected by the weather. I'm not good with the winter, long winter, dark months. I'm really not good. I suffer with SAD. But I have to look on, like this morning, I took my dog for a walk. It was dry down by the seafront. It was quite pleasant. And just watching the waves roll in and just being there. And my dog was like picking up a stone and chasing it. It was really quite sweet. So it was little things like that that made me feel good this morning. And if I hadn't have gone out and stayed at home, I probably would have felt quite miserable. But actually getting out and doing that really did help my mindset and to feel better about things. So there are things that we can do to help ourselves. Do you agree, Caroline?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, we are energetic beings, and we pick up on the energies around us. Sometimes I can be fearful or sad without reason, just because I pick it up from someone or a place. And so clearing the energy, and like you said, nature, I mean, forests, beach sides, they sort of cleanse it. I mean, the beach is wonderful because then you have the salty air, and it sort of cleanses and washes your energy, and you can stay more yourself. You're in your own kind of energy without distraction or influences from others. And yeah, it's always the small things, I mean, if we feel the joy or feel like, oh wow, this is truly great, or I mean, it has to do with gratitude. I think gratitude, happiness, joy is sort of interlinked. And gorgeous viewer and listeners, we've did an episode on gratitude a while ago. You feel free to go back to that one. And it's that inner joy and treasuring the moment. I think the more we can stay in the moment, in our heart, connected to our soul, the happier, the more joyful we can be, because that's the being. It's like that in-breath of pure love, light, joy, and happiness. And of course, and I think that state I would call bliss. Yes. What about you?
I love it. Caroline uses this word bliss, and every time she says it, it makes me feel it. I really do feel it. Absolutely, because there is something called the emotional vibrational chart, which I'll try and get a copy to share, and it sort of shows the emotional frequencies measured in hertz. And the one, they don't have it called happiness, they have it joy, and that's at 540 hertz. And there's like a pyramid, and it's near the top. So above that, you have peace and then enlightenment. So at 540 hertz, you're way up the chart. So the more you can bring joy, happiness, bliss into your life, you're raising your vibrational energy. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because then that attracts more good things to you. And for the world in general right now, I don't know if anyone knows about this dimensional shift that the world is going through, but the more of us that are in that higher energy frequency, the better it's going to be for us all. So yeah, it's not only you're doing it for yourself, you're doing it for everyone else as well.
Exactly. And we can share our light by being the light, sharing the light with others, by reflecting someone's light, and also inspire someone to raise up to joy. It's not, and I think that's the good thing. Janet and I, we are authentic, and we lead by our heart and soul and with our joy, and we love to inspire others to feel the joy, connect to joy within, one way or the other, or enjoy and be deeply grateful for the joyful little snippets. Yes. And if you can hang on to that a little while longer, you open up that door to joyfulness. It's just a crack, and it goes more and more and more light comes. And the more you allow joy in and connect to that joy, the more joyful you are. You know, it's sort of like, it's like a bandwidth, you know, 23, 5 years ago or whatever, we had first the internet, and we went over the telephone line, you know, it was like,
yes.
And now we have that full speed thing. And that's the same with connecting to joy. You know, it's a little bit, it's sort of like drizzling in or drizzling, bubbling within. And then all of a sudden it's like, and you have that full joyful feeling. And yeah, you feel so much better about yourself, and you can share that joy with the world, and the world needs it more than ever. And yeah, don't dim your light, shine your light.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Caroline, is that it is to each of us. And as light workers, and we had an episode about light workers, that's what we feel, that's our calling, our role is to shine our light and to guide other people to shine their light. And the more people that shine light and work at this higher vibrational energy, it is better. And as an individual as well, I mean, you have a very complicated energy system, and the more you feed it, because it needs fuel, like all things, the energy needs fuel. So joy, happiness, bliss are all big energy pushes for your system. So the more that you can bring that in, the better it is. So like your aura expands, and it just works so much more for your body, your system, your health, your well-being. So it's not just about about being happy. It actually has a massive impact on you, on your health, your well-being, your mental, emotional health. So it is something that is important to start to look at. And I think after all that's gone on with the last few years of the pandemic, and I know here in the UK, things are still very unsettled with what's going on in the world as well. People are feeling a lot of fear. And fear is a very, very, very negative emotion and bringing everything down. So the more that, you know, if you can step away from that fear, step back into love, and step back into finding those moments of joy and happiness, you're bringing it back to you, helping you, that then will expand and ripple out to others.
Yeah, definitely. And it's good energy, and it lights you up from within. And you can never take the light or joy away from someone. It's everyone's birthright to feel joy, to shine the light. So don't dim your light or your joy, because the world needs it. And maybe your neighbor, your family, your children needs you to be joyful, because otherwise we're all sort of under a black cloak and just hassling on and feeling that joy and being alive, and representing a good role model of what life is about. Life is about treasuring the moment, connecting to your heart and your soul, and feeling the joy, the gratitude, and shining bright. And I think that's so important, because for me, for the longest time, I felt I'm not allowed to feel joyful because my neighbor is grieving, or my mom isn't feeling well. So how can I be joyful? I should be subdued and hide and not share my joy. And Whereas I forgot that if I can feel joyful, I can ignite my neighbor and my mom to feel joyful as well. Together we rise, and it's not done by shying away from feeling good. Like, yeah, maybe.
And I think as you sort of say, in a situation like that, I think genuine, heartfelt, soul-led joy, it ripples out in a nice way. It's not like you're making light or fun of someone else's situation. It's where you're sort of just, you're bringing that. And I think we've all been in that sort of situation where you've maybe felt a little bit down and you've been in someone's company. Maybe it was, even just a stranger when in a shop or on the train or something. And they just have that, there's just something about them. And they have that happiness, they have like a glow. And it actually does then sort of like impact you, that it does actually start to penetrate. So, the more you are around happier people who are enjoying joy, who feel bliss, it is such a different experience, isn't it? And it does feel so much lighter, and it makes you feel lighter, and not this sort of like feeling, as you say, under this dark, heavy depression. Because I know what depression's like, and I've been there in it several times. And I know how I feel. I do feel like I'm being completely squashed down and spiraling down instead of moving up. So getting myself back on track to then feel, as you say, you almost have to give yourself permission that you don't have to feel that way, that you can feel happy, that it is okay, because as you sort of say, you do feel sometimes that you're influenced by other people, but really, ultimately, this is your responsibility. You own this, and it's up to you to look for these little bits of happiness. Now, I don't know about you, Caroline, but what I do is I take snapshots in my head of like certain situations that have made me really happy. And I try and have those as like little photo images in my head, or little mini movies, so that I can sort of go back to. Or also, even a physical photo book is a great tool as well, or even on your phone if there's photographs, but most of us have too many photographs to find them again. What about you, Caroline? Have you got any tips about how to help, build your happiness?
I love capturing imaging in your mind. I absolutely love this. And also then taking that time to be with it, to soaking it up sort of in every cell, like anchoring it in your body, and yeah, I always take my phone with me to take pictures of gorgeous nature, and also writing it out, I think, and then reading it. You can best, I think, it's even if you read it out aloud to yourself, so you hear it, you see it, and you sort of feel it as well. And yeah, just taking those precious moments and remembering, yeah, like you said, it's sort of snapshots throughout the day. It's, for me, when I started that, I said, oh, now I'm in the flow. Now I know how it goes. Now, and then I expected it to always be happy, to always be joyful, to always love myself. And then sort of you crash, and it's sort of, what did I do wrong? But I didn't do anything wrong. It's just that normal, flow, that sometimes you're really on top, you feel it, you have a really great day, and sometimes you have sort of a not so good day. And that is normal. We are only humans. So, and I think even when all goes well, no problem, you feel the joy, you're happy, everything is honky-dory. But in the lower moments, that's when we are called to look for those little moments of light and treasure that. And remembering the highs aren't always highs and the lows aren't always low. So keep going and creating. Sometimes it's also creating the moments of joy. If you have a bad day, but just having a walk in nature, or going to the park, sit next to your favorite tree, or listen to sounds of waves, of beaches, or whatever helps you feel better. Do that. Take those 5-10 minutes and allow yourself to expand on that good feeling. And because, like you said, sometimes when we're low, we just go on that downward spiral, and it's so easy. But sort of stopping and stepping out and then doing something. So maybe a list of things that we truly enjoy helps also. So when we have sort of a bit of a low, we can take the list and say, okay, what is calling me now? And then stepping out and doing that. And feeling good about yourself and allowing yourself, like you said, and not feeling guilty for taking time for yourself, because we are only responsible for ourselves. We are not responsible how other people react or how they feel. We are responsible for ourselves, as everyone is responsible for themselves.
I love that, Caroline, having a list. I mean, that comes under self-love, self-care as well. For me, I have to say, I started during lockdown to learn to play the piano again. I'm not very good, but I think for me, that's a really mindful thing that I do. And normally I try to do it every day, 10, 15, 20 minutes. I'll go, and because I'm like really have to concentrate on reading the notes and getting the hands on the right place, it is a form of meditation for me. And I just find that by doing that, it pleases me and makes me happy, even though I make mistakes and I'm not very good, but it pleases me to do that because it just takes me out of my head and into a spot. And I love music. So, that's one thing that I do to bring me happiness.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love music too. And as a child, I always wanted to play piano. So maybe in the future I'll
never too late. Never too late.
We have to concentrate or focus so much on one task, then it's like everything else sort of floats away. And that is really good. I mean, when I was really low and down, I did crosswords puzzles just to keep my mind a bit occupied and not going, life is bad and everything is so, but just focus on that, because we can't snap from feeling bad to feeling good in a second. So in between is that opening, that not thinking, but concentrating, focusing on something else that brings more peace. And from there, the next step then is more positive. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to know from our viewers, our listeners, what you do to boost your happiness, to unlock your bliss. Share with us your ideas of what you do. That would be great, wouldn't it, Caroline?
Absolutely. Always love hearing from you, and you can either comment on the video or in the podcast or send us an email. It's Caroline@carolinepalmy.com and
Janet@janetgroom.com.
So, is there more to share about happiness, joy, and bliss?
I think there's probably a lot more to share about happiness and joy, but I think that we've covered quite a lot in this episode to get people thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Janet, for being here. Always love being with you. And thank you, gorgeous viewers and listeners. And we can't wait to share more next week. Thank you.
Love and light blessings.